Hey you guys, it's April. So I finally got my iPhone back, and yeah. So I'm gonna be telling you about my first experiment at the haunted house with my dad. Since so when I was about 9 years old, 10, I don't remember. I went over to visit with my dad, and he used to live in this apartment. It's like a really small apartment. It just has one room, one bathroom, and one kitchen. That's how small it is. But at least he has a roof over his head. It doesn't matter if he has toys or anything like that, because I was more taking care of my brothers. And yeah, so anyway, last night, well, not last night, but when at night, he was telling me about how he will hear little kids giggling and playing around, or move things, or turn on his TV. And I was like, oh well, for me, I was so not terrified, but I was like, wow, I want to see it with my own eyes. And I was like, hey, can we start looking for ghosts or stuff like that? And he's like, yeah, sure. So we stayed up. Yeah, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was falling asleep until he's like, you know what, let's just go to sleep and I'll have the camera recording us. And I'm like, okay, sure. So we fell asleep, and in the morning we woke up. Well, he woke me up eventually, and he told me that there was a little kid standing right next to me, just staring at me while I was sleeping. And then I woke up with a scratch on my back or something, I don't remember, but it was this huge scratch. It was about 2 or 4 scratches on my back. And then I was freaked out. I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna die or something. And he was like, it's not an innocent little kid, it's a demon basically, or whatever. And so I was creeped out, and I'm like, okay, can we go somewhere? Could I visit my grandma instead? Because I was so terrified. And he's like, yeah, just spend the night over there. So I went, and the next thing you know, he texts me. Yeah, a 10-year-old had a phone. Yeah, he texts me and he's like, April, come over right now, I need to show you something. And I was like, can you just send it to me or something? He's like, no, I can't, because it's in my computer screen. So I'm like, okay, fine. So he picked me up, and while we were at his apartment, he captured stuff moving, a cup just moving. I don't know, it was kind of creepy. But then he decided to talk to one of those ghosts. So he basically, you know how those people that has a Ouija board or something like that. So it wasn't basically a Ouija board. It was just you have to grab 6 pens. I'm not gonna even show you, because I don't want you guys to be all possessed or have demons around your house or anything like that. So he was talking to one of them, and we were just right there, and I was like, okay, what do we do, or what are the yes or no things? And he's like, okay, so this means yes, and the other thing means no. And I'm like, okay. So as a 10-year-old, I follow along. So I was really excited, but at the same time I was really terrified. So next thing you know, my dad asked the question, are you right behind me? And it says no. And then he asked another question, are you right behind my daughter, which is me? And next thing you know, it says yes. I was so terrified. I was like, okay, he knows that I was terrified because I was basically shaking. And he was like, don't be scared, because the more you get scared, the more the demons or ghosts, or I don't know, will be bigger basically. So I was like, okay, fine, I'm chill, I'm cool, or whatever. And then I asked, are you here for me or whatever? And next thing you know, it says yeah. So that's when my dad just dropped everything. He packed legit everything, and I was like, where are we going basically? And he just told me, we're moving out. And I'm like, okay, so, but it was like the middle of the night, and I was falling asleep, and he told me that he's gonna take me to her grandma's house, and I'm like, no, because I don't want nothing to happen to you. Which, if you have that really good connection or relationship with your father, then maybe you will understand that I was so caring and just like, bleh, basically. So I told him if I could sleep over at his house. He's like, okay, fine, but you're sleeping right next to me, like on the wall. And I'm like, okay, sure. So I fell asleep, and then next thing you know, in the morning, I woke up with a bunch of scratches on my legs or something. And that's when right away he called my grandma, and my grandpa picked me up, and that's when he took me home. Next thing you know, my dad came over, and he was this experiencing ghost at my grandma's house. And since me and him has that ghost hunter relationship stuff, I had apps on my phone, which I know some of them doesn't really work, they're just fake, but then my dad has this one app, and there was like a bunch of ghosts or whatever, I don't know what was it, like right behind me or somewhere in the room, and everything just started, like all the drawers from the kitchen just open and start like and shit like that. We just moved out. My grandma even moved out. But yeah. So that was my first time experimenting at the haunted house or whatever. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Click the like button and also subscribe for more. Also write a comment below your first experiments at the haunted house or something that happened to you of like scratches or moving supplies. I would love to read them. And thanks for watching. Love you guys.